Freight and commuter trains that had been halted by work stoppages at Canada's major railways are rolling once again after Ottawa intervened in bargaining. Now, at the retreat in Halifax, the Prime Minister had this to say.
I want to make sure that everyone knows how grateful we are for all the hard work that people did on resolving this rail dispute. All parties involved, the Minister stepped up. I think Canadians fully understand just how important it is to keep our economy rolling, keep making sure that families, workers, businesses are supported across the country, and that's where everyone came together and got this done.
Most commuter train services that were shut down have now resumed. That mainly affected the Greater Toronto Area, parts of Montreal, and Metro Vancouver. Thousands of people who use the mainly suburban rail lines every day had to find a new way to work or arrange to work from home last week. The train service resumed after traffic control operators got back on the job. CBC's Ali Chiasson caught up with the commuters near Toronto to see how they were feeling this morning.
As full train service gets back up and running, delays are still possible, but it is nothing like we saw late last week when 10,000 GO train commuters were sent scrambling. That's when 9,300 rail workers, including train conductors and engineers, were locked out by CN and CPKC Rail when talks broke down with their union. They were bargaining a new collective agreement when they reached a stalemate. But with rail transit being as essential as it is, back-to-work legislation was granted, which meant morning commuter trains have been arriving, albeit 30 minutes late in some cases. I spoke with commuters today about the whole ordeal.
I understand they have reasons for the strike, but then, this last minute, pulling the plugs off in the last minute is not very helpful for, thousands of people for whom the only way is to get to downtown is through these trains.
I think it's difficult for both sides. This is such an essential service and it affects so many people. I can only hope that the binding arbitration process is fair and even-handed with both sides and that both sides can feel heard.
This is essentially a microcosm of the situations in other industries, and we can see in a lot of places that people feel like their wages aren't catching up with inflation or being suppressed in some way, and it's important again to show support for our fellow workers.
We just saw some of those commuters call Ubers and drive on out of here because it turns out their train was delayed by an hour, not for any labor dispute, but because of a signal issue affecting the rail corridor here along the Hamilton GO line. So if it's not one issue, it's another. Also, the union representing the rail workers is appealing the back-to-work legislation, so we are not out of the tunnel yet. It is a good idea to check that train schedule, even more often than you might already do, before heading out to the station. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Mississauga.